Hello guys, welcome to my new video, and today I'll be looking at the healer or the most popular healers both in pre-patch and basically making my predictions in Shadowlands. And this video is mainly spurred on by the latest Wowhead article that I checked out a couple of days ago, and honestly I was really intrigued by it because I feel it really fed into my theories of classes that become popular are not always the classes that are the best, but the classes that get hyped up during new expansion launches. So let's go and have or check out this chart, and this is looking at data from bench.me. Again, you have to remember there's a lot of different tools out there. You have rated.io, you have Warcraft logs. There's a lot of metrics to compare what healer is popular, to compare what healer is going to be strong, or make educated guesses at what healer is going to be in the meta. This video, again, big disclaimer guys, pre-patch does not indicate the healer's performance in Shadowlands. I just merely want to showcase that a lot of information or a lot of hype has been aimed towards Discipline Priest, and all of a sudden from being the least popular healer in a plus 15 keys in BFA Season 4, it has jumped to the second most popular healer. And I feel there's a lot of reasons for that, and I feel this pre-patch popularity is going to carry into Shadowlands. A lot of the times people might say that popularity equals the performance. So as the most popular class is going to be the best class, and to a lot of extent it is true. A lot of the times the most popular classes in, let's say, 25 keys are going to be Restoration Druids. They fell from 56% to 41%, but they're still very popular. And this is what a lot of creators were saying, and again, you have to keep in mind this is pre-patch data, but I feel a lot of this data might actually follow into Shadowlands. And why? Why is Discipline Priest so popular all of a sudden? Because a lot of people hyped up Discipline Priest, including myself. Discipline is getting some really cool new abilities with things like Mind Blast. They have better ways of, approaching different damage patterns with talents like Shadow Covenant. There's a lot of things that make Discipline a lot more intriguing, especially how they deal with bursting and Master Spell. Again guys, if you're doing bursting right now, how good is Master Spell? All of a sudden some of the weaknesses of Discipline Priest or Priests in general have been fixed to some extent. One of the reasons in my opinion that Priest is also very popular because Shadow Priests have been completely reworked. A lot of people have very positive things to say about Shadow Priests. A lot of people might rank Shadow Priests as being very strong both in pre-patch and in Shadowlands itself. So all of a sudden, my indication from all of this data right here in terms of performance in Mythic plus 15s and Mythic plus 25s in pre-patch, I feel Priest is going to be the most hyped up healer coming into Shadowlands. I feel there's going to be a lot of Priests. I feel there's going to be a lot of Priests that are gonna try out Discipline. If they don't like the Discipline or the preemptive style of Discipline, they're gonna go to the more reactive style of Holy Priest. I feel if they want to have a good off-spec, they're gonna try out Shadow Priest. And again, with this, the community perception is going to change. Again, this is a big disclaimer. Community perception exists. Even for lower keys, people might not invite certain classes because they don't feel it's the meta. At the very start of an expansion where people are going to be plus 15 is going to be legitimately very difficult to do. And people will try to increase their chances by inviting classes that they perceive to be the best. Do I support that view? Not really. So that's why I want to approach community perception. I think Priest community perception is going to rise through the roof. I think their performance in raids are going to be solid, and I think Priest performance in Mythic Plus is going to be also very comparable. Another healer that I feel is going to gain a lot of attention is going to be Restoration Shaman. And as many of you may know, I'm going to be playing Resto Shaman in raid situations. Now the reason why Resto Shamans are going to be really popular is not because they got a whole lot of changes, because they really didn't. A lot of the things is like Mana Tide Totem is there, which is cool, a lot of extra utility. In terms of Covenants, again, I really like the Necrolord Covenant and I really enjoyed the playstyle of it. But the reason they're so popular is because the utility. They're going to most likely perform really well in Castle Natche because there is a lot of stacked fights. And even if there is a lot of spreading, Necrolord ability, you have to look at things like Primordial Wave as a good way of doing AoE splash healing when people are spread. So Resto Shaman utility and their HPS at this point in the game is very good. Healer class is going to give them the best chance of inviting or getting invited in raids, and Resto Shaman is probably one of the best options right now, where a lot of content creators are talking about, hey, what's the most optimal meta for Shadowlands, or what do you think is going to be the predictions for most optimal meta in Castle Natche? They might tell you 2 Resto Shaman. And in Mythic Plus, I feel the difference between Resto Shamans or the best healer in Mythic Plus and the worst healer is not that big. Resto Shaman Earth Shield buffs have been pretty substantial. And you have to look at their single target healing in terms of the Earth Shield buffs. And I feel Resto Shaman is really fun. And again, Discipline Priest or Priest in general, I think is going to be very popular, followed by Resto Shaman. I think the community perception for those healers is going to change and it's going to improve immensely. Now, the healers that have fallen a lot is going to be Holy Paladin, and mainly because there has been some scary changes. My personal opinion is that Holy Paladin is still a very fun healer. Maybe it needs certain buffs in Shadowlands itself, but it's doing really well in pre-patch. One of the main reasons they're doing pretty well in pre-patch, you can see from this graph, even though at like 15 levels or plus 15 mythic keystones, they're not very popular. There's far more Resto Druids, there's far more Priests, there's far more Resto Shamans, and the Holy Paladin is not popular. But once you go to higher keystone level, you'll see that Paladins become bigger and bigger by the curvature of this graph. Now, the reasons for this is that, quite frankly, some of the Azerite traits for Holy Paladin are just completely busted. You can see that one of the highest keys, plus 34, was done by a Holy Paladin. You can see that that Holy Paladin is running triple Light's Decrees. Light's Decree is an insane amount of damage. And it's also not even running Glimmer of Light traits. Probably the most popular build right now is triple Light's Decrees with 2 Glimmer of Light traits. Glimmer of Light does scale with Glimmer of Light talent. Keep that in mind. But this can showcase that Holy Paladin, at least on the pre-patch, is not popular, but it's actually doing quite well in high keys. What does that mean in Shadowlands, and how could that be interpreted in Shadowlands? Generally speaking, a lot of people are scared. Holy Power is back. There is uncertainty about ranged build that's emerging with Holy Light spam because of certain conduits and certain legendaries. There's also a lot of uncertainty about Crusader Strike mana cost. There is just too much concerns in terms of what's going to happen to Holy Paladin, and I feel Holy Paladin is losing extreme amount of popularity at this given point. From being the second most popular healer in plus 15 keys, they're dropping immense. You can see the numbers right here. And I feel this is going to continue until Blizzard kind of decides on, hey, we want Holy Paladins to go ranged, or we want Holy Paladins to go melee, or we want Holy Paladins to make a decision, because those two builds are very, very close together in terms of HPS performance or utility. I feel that's what people are waiting for. And guys, let me know how you feel about Holy Paladin, because Holy Paladin, I feel this loss in popularity is going to continue into Shadowlands. My personal prediction is that Holy Paladins are going to get a buff in terms of HPS, and they're going to perform really well in Shadowlands raids and things like that. But that's a prediction. Blizzard has done it. Blizzard is relatively hard to predict sometimes. And now let's finish the video with the last couple of healers in terms of their popularity, and are they falling, are they doing well? And you have to look at things like, again, I mentioned Resto Druids. Resto Druids still the most popular healers in Mythic Plus, and quite frankly, this is what a lot of content creators were saying, a lot of beta testers were saying. Resto Druid still has a lot of utility. Resto Druid is still very, very strong, both in pre-patch and in Shadowlands content. Now, in terms of raid performance, I don't want to show this chart too much, because this is the pre-patch raid logs or mythic logs, and you can see Resto Druid is still relatively popular healer in terms of parses. But keep in mind, this is very irrelevant. I don't think Resto Druid is going to be nearly as popular as it is in Mythic Plus when it comes to raiding. I think Resto Druid's raid performance, I think raids are going to be looking for healers, but they might not necessarily be like, hey, we need a Resto Druid for our raid composition. So keep that in mind, my early prediction. In terms of Mistweaver Monks, there's very few changes in their popularity, both in Mythic 15s and 25s, and I feel the same thing is going to follow in Shadowlands, because quite frankly, Mistweavers were relatively untouched until the very end. There's a lot of community backlash in terms of the lack of changes, because I think a lot of Mistweavers wanted a complete rework. They did get certain, I can't bash Blizzard all the time. Blizzard did approach certain talents and they made them work with mastery, which is what a lot of people wanted. But there is a lot of bugs with a lot of the spells, and it's less than a month left until Shadowlands, which makes it very scary. Again, with the Mistweaver, you have the same kind of deal as a Holy Paladin. Are they going to be melee? Are they going to be using Fist Weaving? Are they going to be using Rising Mist? Or are they going to be using something like Upwelling built in raids, where you just stand and press Essence Font once in a while? What is going to be the most optimal build in raid situations? Because in raids, you can go either way. In Mythic Plus, I'm still going to say that it's going to be Fist Weaving, it's going to be Rising Mist, because you want to deal damage as a healer in Mythic Plus during your downtime. And if you even look at the raid performance, you'll notice that Mistweavers are actually one of the least popular healers by quite a large margin, which you can go back in previous patches and it's going to be the same thing. Generally speaking, I want to say that Mistweaver is probably the least played healer. And because of this, maybe Blizzard doesn't have the same resources allocated to class changes. I don't know, this is just a tinfoil speculations right now, but again, Mistweaver I feel is a fun class, but there is certain uncertainties, and the last healer in terms of popularity is going to be Holy Priest in Mythic Plus scenarios. It's very different in raids because I feel Holy Priest in raids is a lot more. It's a reactive healer, you can do good HPS, and it appeals to a lot of Mythic or entry-level Mythic raiders and Heroic raiders where maybe they'll be looking for the best HPS. And Holy Priest can definitely be one of those type of healers. Now keep in mind, I felt that their popularity should have risen in pre-patch in terms of their Mythic Plus performance. You have a lot more damaging abilities as a Holy Priest, and I was expecting a bit more of a rise, but I guess a lot of the priests in general, if they're doing Mythic Plus content, they're just going to be trying out Discipline Priest because it received far more impactful gameplay changing alterations than a Holy Priest did, so it kind of makes sense, and I feel that's gonna follow in Shadowlands, and I would definitely not be too discouraged by playing Holy Priest in Shadowlands. I feel Holy Priest Mythic Plus community perception is going to be a bit better because they did receive certain changes that should impact their performance, but at the same time I also feel too many people concentrate on what the top 1% chooses in terms of their classes, because generally speaking this game is far more casual than most people realize. If you did the Keystone achievement in BFA before the pre-patch, you were probably in the top 10% of the player base, which basically means that the top 1% is kind of manipulating what the rest of the 99% of player base is going to choose. And Holy Priest is going to be more than decent choice both in Mythic Plus and Raids, and your choice might be impacted only when you're trying to do those really high keys. So the general summary of the video, a lot of the things that I kind of expected did happen. You saw a big rise in Discipline Priests, you saw a big rise in Resto Shamans both in Mythic Plus and Raid situations. I feel their community perception is going to only get better over time. There was a big decline in Holy Paladins because of uncertainty. Where is Holy Paladin going? Is it going to be range? Is it going to be melee? You saw certain classes staying in the same position like Mistweavers and Holy Priests because, quite frankly, there is not a whole lot of things happening here, or maybe the changes are a little bit too late. There's still too many bugs going on here, especially with Mistweaver Monk. But I really want to hear your opinions about this. I really want to hear what class you're going to be playing in Shadowlands. Have you tested these classes out in pre-patch, and has this testing influenced your main decision for Shadowlands? Let me know how you feel about this video, and I'll see you in my next